Welcome to the Modco podcast. Conversations about life, organization, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. This show was created to provide motivation, inspiration, and a reminder to give yourself grace. Here, we are transparent, non-judgmental, authentic, and love to have fun because sometimes you need to laugh at yourself. I'm your host, Angel. Sit back and get ready for valuable tips, resources, laughs, and more. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back. And I hope you brought a friend.
Welcome to another awesome and exciting episode of the Marco podcast. Be sure to grab some food and drinks and just chillax.
Today, we are talking about time blocking. And I really hope that I can get through this episode. I have tried recording several times and it has just not been working for me. One time I was actually halfway through recording an episode and I had never actually hit record. So I gave up recording that day and I am trying again today. It is Sunday that I'm recording this and this episode has to go out on Wednesday. So fingers crossed that this one works and you all actually get this one. So time blocking. Last year, I talked about productivity hacks with Lauren Glenn. She was on the show. And one of the things she suggested was time blocking, and that's setting time on your schedule to work on specific things. And while I'm organized and I'm great at planning, I've never actually done time blocking before. And at the end of last year, I was so stressed out and getting so frustrated because I felt like I did not have enough time to do everything that I needed to get done between working two jobs, my son's activity, family life. I just felt like I had no time to work on my podcasting stuff and that it was falling by the wayside. And every time I would sit down to work on podcasting stuff, I was just so tired. I didn't feel like doing it. I didn't know what I was supposed to be working on. I was all over the place. And as usual, one night when I should have been sleeping, it hit me that I should try time blocking. So I put it on my mental to-do list for the next day, but I just could not fall asleep that night. Also, I have discovered that since I'm getting older, I can no longer drink caffeine after a certain time. I can drink caffeine at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can have a red eye or a Red Bull at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I can take a nap by 9 o'clock. I can go back to sleep by like 9 o'clock in the morning. But if I have that same cup of coffee or that same Red Bull after like 1:30 p.m., I'm gonna be up until like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I think my body has gotten that kind of wrong on the caffeine intake, but I don't know if that's something I can work on or not. So that day I had probably had caffeine after my cutoff time and I was wide awake as usual. So I got up, I went to my computer, and I knew that I didn't want time blocking to clog up my regular calendar. So I was really just like racking my brain trying to figure out how I was going to make it work the way that I wanted to work. And even though I couldn't sleep, I was tired, I was not thinking straight, but I knew that I had to get this done. So what I did was I just ended up adding everything to my regular calendar. Well, the next morning, after I had some coffee and I was thinking a little bit more clearer, I realized the additional calendar did not sit right with me because now my regular calendar was cluttered. So it had all these spaces on it and it was just really bothering me because I don't want to look at my calendar and see all of this clutter on there. The time block is just supposed to be for me to give me an idea of how to kind of spend my day and what to work on. So it was driving me crazy. Took a pause for a minute and I went back and listened to the episode that I did with Lauren, which is episode number 98, in case you would like to go back and take a listen. And Lauren talked about creating a separate calendar for time blocking. I was like, yes, this is what I need. I know that there's a way that you can do it without cluttering up everything. I was like, this is perfect. So I created a separate calendar and I made it so that I can't see it on my calendar app on my phone. So when I open that up, it's not all clogged up with all of my time blocking stuff. But on my desktop calendar, which usually I'm sitting down at my desk working on stuff, I can see my time blocking and what I have planned to work on for that time. And it helped me out so much. I put everything that I do or that I need to do on a daily basis on that calendar. So I carved out time for the gym, my Bible time to work on job number one, time to do podcasting stuff. And then afternoons, I completely blocked out for job number two. And so some days I need to do all of the things. Some days I'll need to do a few of the things. And some days things are a little bit shorter or a little bit longer than what I have blocked off for them. Like for job number two, those are set hours. I know when I need to leave, when I need to be there. But as far as my other job and podcasting stuff, some days I may not have much podcasting stuff to work on. So I don't need the whole time that I blocked off, or even the same with my second job. I may have already taken care of everything that I needed. My first job, I mean, I may have already taken care of everything that I needed for that. So I don't need as much time for it. But still, I have the time blocked off on my calendar to help me stay on track and not to get sidetracked as much and jump from one thing to another. And after I set up the time blocking on my calendar, I also updated my booking calendars for coffee chats and podcast recording because I had been doing a lot of rescheduling lately since I had so much going on and trying to rearrange things and make sure that I wasn't overbooking or double booking, or that I wasn't trying to record a podcast and I was just completely burnt out and had zero energy to actually do it. But the best part of time blocking is that I was able to really break down my to-do list even more. Once I saw how much time I actually had in the day, I was able to prioritize my list and break it down into manageable chunks, because I was just all over the place. And I've also stopped checking my emails every time I get a notification for it. I honestly probably just need to turn those notifications off. But I don't like notifications. And a lot of times I have my email tab open when I'm working on my computer because I need to reference back to an email. And then I see that notification pop up. And then also my phone sitting beside me. And so the notification's on my phone. And I see these notifications and it's driving me crazy. So then I stop what I'm doing to go to my email. Then I get sidetracked and I'm completely off track with it. Or same thing, I'll be working on something and then something else will happen and I get completely sidetracked and I'm off on a tangent, and then I don't have time to come back to it. So being able to see how much time I actually have in the day has helped so much with my to-do list. And we all get overwhelmed with the never ending to do list, or feeling like there's just not enough time to get everything done. And we all fall off the wagon with staying on top of our calendars. And I talked about this like when I first started the podcast. So, I mean, almost 2 years ago, about doing an audit of your time. And that can also help with your time blocking. So, I suggest maybe doing an audit of your time before you actually start with your time blocking. So that way you can see what it is that you're actually doing on a daily basis, like little things that you don't think about. Because when we're in the habit of doing something all the time, we don't actually think about what it is. It just becomes routine. So sit down, audit your time, see how much time it takes you to do your daily tasks each day, and then block off time for those things that you know that you do each day, and you can have it on there. And it really helps you to, well, for me, it helps me to actually accomplish the things that I want to be able to accomplish throughout the day without feeling overwhelmed or without feeling like I'm just never going to get anything done. And so if that's you, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling stressed out, you're just kind of feeling like I don't have enough time in the day. I'm spinning my wheels here trying to make sure that I get everything done or that I'm even doing anything. Try it. Start small. Add one thing at a time. If you want to start meal planning once a week, add that to your calendar. Block off 10 or 15 minutes on a Saturday or Sunday to do your meal planning. If you want to start going to the gym, you're like, I don't have time for it, block off 30 minutes where you can fit the gym into it. Just start with something small. As I always say, y'all, start small and decide what would make the most difference if you were able to block off time for that and get that done. And start with that thing and then go from there. So give it a try. As we tell our son, you don't know what you like or what will work until you try it. So you may be thinking, time blocking's not for me. This isn't going to work. But have you tried it? I myself kind of thought that it was, I'm not gonna say crazy, but I didn't think that time blocking was for me because I thought I'm already organized. I'm great at planning stuff. My calendar looks great. My calendar is organized. But when it got to that overwhelming part, I was like, I need something different. And especially as a person who feels like they always need to be doing something, it helped me a lot to realize that, okay, well, this is actually done now, and I'm already finished with everything else. So now I have more time in my schedule to do something else. So give it a try, see if you like it or not. And if you don't, you can always go back to the way that you were doing things. And if you do, look, you gained a new management tool to help you throughout your day. So that is all that I have for today. Also, I shared it, I think I talked about it last week, but just to mention to you all again, I have started along with Ellen. We have started the podcast hub, and it is a directory where you can find a guest, you can be a guest, you can get PR resources on there. There is podcast tech support on there. We are doing an early bird special. It is $5 for the first 50 members. We launched it last Monday. The last I checked, we were up to 18 or 20 members. So we're spaces are filling up fairly quickly over here. So if you are interested in joining the podcast club to find a guest or to be a guest on a show, you can click on the link in the show notes and secure your spot today. All right, I will talk with you all again soon. Bye. Are you loving the Modco podcast? Head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star rating and review. This helps others to find the show and gets the show listed in the recommendations section. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode and that you're able to gain something from it. Talk to you next time. Thank you to Chris Leonard for the music for this week's episode.